Hey everyone, and welcome to the second video battle report for Guild Ball and Midwest Wargaming. For this game, we played it in North Liberty at Geek City Games, and it's going to be Mike White's Brewers versus Dave Curtis's Engineers. Plot cards are revealed. Mike has Heroic Landing as one of his cards. Wing Back. And his last plot card is Who Are Ya? Dave has Composure. Good Marker. And the last plot card is, there we go, Knee Slider. Dun dun dun. Nice pull, Dave. Alright, so I don't actually know what their 10 are. You'll have to forgive me, but I'll go through the draft process with you. Captains are Esters and Kickoff versus Ballista and Mother. They do a roll-off to receive. Mike ends up winning with his Brewers. They're just clarifying terrain now. The big rock is the barrier. The little ones are the obstructions. But Dave, let's see. Oh, Mike grabs Friday for his first pick. Dave grabs Harry the Hat. Mike's going to counter that with his Harry the Hat. Dave grabs Ratchet. Mike is going to go with Spigot. Dave puts out Velocity. Mike's debating and asking about their tough stats right now, defense and armor. But at the end of the day, he is going to roll the dice and go with Stoker as his last pick. Now Dave is also going to be in a little bit of a thinking exercise here. He really thinks he should take Compound, but he's feeling antsy. He's going to give Locust a try, because who doesn't like a big giant robot on the table? So that's our starting 6. Brewers receiving. Alright, so they are going to start setting up their models. And just looking at Dave's position, if it were me, I would kick with Velocity, because she has a pretty long threat range of 11. That's going to apply pressure and allow her to, possibly take the ball after kickoff and score a quick goal. But he's going to give the ball to Harry. It's not a bad choice. Harry is definitely someone you want up front in the fight, because if Harry gets hit, with his crazy and rising anger, good things happen. Brewers are definitely a scrum team, so I would predict Mike's going to basically line exactly opposite from him in a tight center formation. Mike's a little indecisive though, so he'll just try to keep finding a spot for his doggy. It's not often you see a game with Quaff, so this is going to be pretty fun to watch. I'm so used to the Esters cat missile. Alright, let's go over the lineup here. Stoker, Esters, Friday, Quaff, Spigot, Harry the Hat. And then for the Engineers, we got Velocity, Locust, Ratchet, Ballista, Harry the Hat with the ball, and Mother. Alright, so kicking off with Harry. I don't think there's too much thought. You just kind of put Harry up the middle, kick it up the middle, and let Harry be in charge of the scrum. He's got Velocity on the wing there, which is good. Velocity could just kind of run around and get in position to score. But Harry moves up, does a 6-inch kick, only has a 2 for his kick. But Dave's successful. He's going to roll it up. Direction 2, 5 inches. Since it was successful, he's going to say, no way, Jose. Re-kicks it. This is direction 3, 1 inch. And uh-oh, Dave did not clear the middle line, which means Mike gets to place it on any one of his players. This is no bueno for the start of the game. There's always a chance Mike will screw it up, though. He's kind of a rubbish Brewers player. Look at him already put out his influence before the kick has been resolved. What an idiot. Alright, well, he's going to give the ball to Harry, and he's going to allocate influence at the correct time. Thank you very much. He's going to end up giving 2 to Harry, 2 to Spigot, 1 to Quaff, 2 to Esters, 2 to Friday, 4 to Esters. Total of 13 influence. Dave's going to give 2 to Harry, 1 to Mother, 3 to Ballista, 3 to Ratchet, 1 to Locust, and 2 to Velocity. Good game. Since Brewers have an ideal spot, Harry is going to just kick the ball over to Spigot with 1 of his influence. And with his inspiring hat, I predict a free dodge coming up. Yep. Harry's going to dodge up 4. And then he's just going to kind of walk himself up a little bit. Well, I guess that was just a 4-inch dodge so far. He is going to try to get a Molotov cocktail out there without being within 9 inches of the opposing Harry. He's not going to be able to hit the opposing Harry with the Molotov, but he can put a nice little AoE in front of them as a deterrent. And he is near cover and successfully out of Harry's charge range. Mother's going to go up with her 1. She's just going to pop a little nest up there to protect their own Harry. Back to Mike. I expect he's going to, he's within the inspiring hat aura still. So here comes another pass, this time to Quaff. Spigot's a pretty good kicker, so that was an easy succeed. And here comes a free little dodge. Looks like he has 5 inches of movement after that dodge, but he's going to position himself near Esther so he can spend his last influence just to tool her up. And he's also near cover. Let's see. Dave is thinking about busting out Ratchet, but psych. Let's go, or with Ballista, but he is going to go with Ratchet. As Ratchet also has tooled up, which is pretty useful. He's going to walk up 5 inches. And with his last remaining 2, he's going to blast some earth. So that's going to be rough terrain, and it's also going to cause 2 damage to each model that's hit. Both Harry and Spigot are just 3s to hit, so this should be pretty easy. Now they had paused it because they weren't sure if they could drop that AoE on top of the little terrain piece, but they totally can. So he's going to roll on Harry now. Easy hit. That will trigger the what do you call it? He gets 2 Rising Anger, so he gets more momentum. And now versus Spigot, another easy hit. Now, because Ratchet was close to Ballista, Momentous Inspiration, Dave also gets a momentum. Okie dokie. Quaff is going to walk up 4. Just so he's within Harry's hat. And obviously he's going to pass and get a free dodge out of that. He's going to pass it to Friday. However, then rather than dodge with Quaff, he's going to actually dodge with Friday to get her a little bit closer to the goal. Friday's one of those crazy turn 1 score markers, can go 20 inches with all of her abilities. But he is probably short. Or it's really just about 20 inches. However, since it's Quaff's activation, Mike knows that Ballista gets a turn to dampen the plans that he has foreshadowed. And Ballista has a cool little deadbolt where he can shoot, so long as he's within 13 inches. So Mike's going to dodge, not the full 4, but stay just outside of 13, so that Ballista can't walk 5 and deadbolt him. Rather than deadbolt, he's going to just throw a Molotov cocktail in Friday's path with Harry. burning gives the -2 move condition, so it seems like a good plan, but it was something done hastily without any pre-measuring. Mike's now going to take all the time in the world to measure and see if he still has it. So he gets 2 inches for shadow-like movement. Instead of going 8 inches, he can go 6 inches because of the burning. And if he uses his momentous ability, I shoot better after a beer, or I play better after a beer, shoot better after a beer, he can get a 10-inch kick. So he can shoot 4 dice 10 inches away. Yup, seems like a pretty good plan. And he's got lots of momentum to spare because of Harry's hat. So here he goes. He's going to get into position. And what the hell, he's even going to bonus time it to throw 5 dice at the goal. 5 dice from 10 inches away. Pretty dumb. No screamers though, just a score. He's going to use that momentum. I think he should go behind that rock. Seems like a pretty good place to dodge with the momentum to get that +1 or -1 die, but he's going to move 4 inches that way. We'll see how that plays out. And the Brewers are 4-0. Dave is down 4, but he is not giving up. And with his kickoff, it's going to go to the direction 6, 1 inch. And I'm expecting a quick snapback goal with velocity. He's going to set that up with Locust. Going to move over, snap the ball, pass it over. Pretty easy kick to make. And easy peasy. Gets momentum, but passes the turn, does not dodge up velocity 4 inches. Surprising. We got a tape measure in Esters. That can't be good. Mike is going to be throwing bombs on someone, but not this turn. He is going to sprint up Stoker, and he's going to drop a Molotov with his remaining influence. And just as the engineers try to prevent a score with a Molotov, Mike's going to do the same thing. Now, velocity, curiously, only inches up and passes the ball back to Locust, getting another momentum. He's asking if he can dodge into the Molotov fire without being burned, but it is not an advance. It's just entering causes the burning condition. So instead, he's going to acrobatics and reposition over there. This is not going at all as I had thought. Alright, now Mike's doing his Esters turn. She is a slow lady, only speed 4. Mother has 9 boxes, so that would be a good target. But I don't think he wants to hit Harry and trigger Rising Anger, so instead he's going to go for Ratchet. He's going to start with a Fire Blast for 2 influence, needing 3s and hits, and because Esters is tooled up, that's going to be 3 damage instead of the 2, plus the burning condition. And then going to blast Earth with the remaining 2, and that's going to be another 3 damage because it tooled up. Dave asks about Friday's stats. Since she's near Spigot, she's a 5-1. However, Stoker is only 3 defense, so he's going to be an easier target for Mr. Ballista. Dave is going to spend 1 influence to sprint, even though he doesn't need to go that full distance. He's going to deadbolt Stoker. Hits, and since Ballista is tooled up, that is going to be 4 damage, a 2-inch push directly back, and knockdown. Passes the turn. Mike's out of player, so they're going to roll off. Dave is at +3 on the momentum race and wins. He debates for a moment, but we always go first when we win the momentum race. If you've ever not gone first, let me know. I have no idea when to decline that. This is the cleanup phase where they try to remember whose AoE template is who, so no one steals stuff. That's a game of itself. And for those who remembered, Dave is working with 12 influence, whereas Mike is now going to be playing with 14 since he scored a goal. They hide the influence from me. Thank you. That makes editing so easy. 1 goes to Locust, 2 goes to Velocity, 4 goes to Ballista, 2 goes to Harry, and 3 go to Ratchet. Mike is fully loading Esters with 5, gave Harry 3, 1 to Spigot, Quaff gets 0, Friday gets 2, and Stoker got 3 up there. Dave won initiative. He is going to start off by spending 1 to tool up the big guy, Ballista himself, and spend 2 to blast Earth. He has lots of targets. He wants to avoid Harry, though. So instead of hitting Spigot and Quaff, he's going to try for Spigot and Friday, which is a bit riskier. Go with the easy one first, Spigot. That's a miss. For Friday, the double miss. Well, he'll just move and reposition somewhere safe now. For Mike's turn, he starts off by asking Dave how many boxes Ballista has. 18 HP, 3-1 tough hide. Thinking that might be a little tough for Esters. He wavers. He ponders. He gets chicken. And he decides he's going to soften up Ballista first with Mr. Harry. Harry can get there easily with a charge. 9-inch threat. However, at that angle, he is going to be right next to Mother's nest token, which is going to be -1 for TN. In this case, the TN is just going to be tack, so instead of rolling 12 dice, he's going to roll 11 on the charge. So Harry decides to go crazy, charges. He's going to be rolling 11 dice instead of the 12. 3-1 to hit. And taking into account armor, that is 5 hits. Mike's going to choose a momentous knockdown. So now Mr. Ballista is a 2-1. He's going to be rolling 6 dice instead of 7, because again, Mother's Nest. But they all hit. So -1 for the armor, 5 hits is going to be a 2 momentous damage with a 2 push. Ballista's tough hide will ignore 1 of that though. And before Mike passes turn, he's going to heal 4 damage. Okay, up to Dave. He's going to activate Ballista now. Ballista's going to forfeit his movement and just start... I guess he doesn't really need to go anywhere, but rather than pound on Harry, who's 2 inches away, he's going to shoot Stoker. He's going to lose a die because he's engaged by Harry, but 1 die still hits Stoker. And with tooled up, that is 4 damage, a 2-inch push, and he's going to pop up Minefield before he passes it over. It's just a slightly little bit of defense there, and with tooled up, Minefield is going to cause 4 damage for models that are within 4 and start an advance in the aura, or enter the aura as part of an advance. I can tell the Brewers definitely want to take out Ballista, but rather than just throw Esters in right away, they're going to see if they can't soften it up. Although Ratchet's a juicy target too, but Ratchet has only lost 3 HP at this point. Ratchet still has 14. So instead, Stoker has his eyes on Ballista. Just has to measure it out. And Stoker, of course, has lots of range attacks. He's got a Molotov cocktail and flame jet. So he's got a pretty good chance to do some decent damage. Stoker advances, throws a cocktail, misses, although the little bit of fire does still stay in play. The flame jet hits though, and that is 2 damage, which is going to be reduced, sorry, 3 damage, which will be reduced to 2 because of tough hide, but Ballista is also on fire. And then Stoker spends 1 momentum to heal 4 before he passes it over. Alright, the big robot passes it to the little robot, so that's Locust to Velocity, and then Velocity uses that momentum to dodge 4 inches closer. So at least while the engineers are being beaten up, they are going to be presenting a very serious goal threat. So now the Brewers can decide, do they want to switch tactics and defend, or are they just going to concede this goal? Mike is flummoxed a bit by the minefield, but thankfully Shadow-like, Friday is going to Shadow-like outside of the 4 inches, and the dodge is not in advance, so she's not going to take 2 damage from that. And then she's going to throw a dirty knife at Ballista. Ballista's hit takes no damage because of tough hide, but does become poisoned, and the better effect is the -1 defense. So the table is getting set. Mike is almost ready for the meal of the engineer captain. But if he's not going to play defense, the engineers might as well score. That's an easy 6-inch dodge, 8-inch goal threat with Velocity. He's rolling tons of dice. And that's a score. Now, Dave did reveal that he had Knee Slider, so is he going to use Knee Slider now or save it? Also, if he uses Knee Slider, how is he going to use Knee Slider? If it were me, I would actually dodge that model in front of Esters. That's because I think, I don't know, maybe I could disrupt his plan a bit. Although then I think I would put him in front of Esters if possible, but Dave's going to put the model behind the barrier. Mike's going to kick the ball behind Quaff and Spigot, but it scatters much farther than he wanted. Spigot's going to activate and put on Tooled Up on Esters and not do a whole lot else. Mother's going to go now. Walk up 5 inches and then put a nest right in front of Ballista. Alright, Mike has set the table and he's finally ready to eat up Ballista. Esters is going to... Looks like he's just doing a little bit of pre-measuring first with the stave since they're both the same base size. But Esters is a slow gal. However, Mike has not popped his legendary yet. So if he pops a legendary and gives her +2 speed, looks like he can get there. Speaking of legendary, he's popped it. But she is getting, in addition to +2 speed, she's also getting +1 strength and, what the hell, +1 agility, which is effectively defense. So she is fully loaded. She is just moseying on up there. She's got 5 influence to spend. Gonna spend 1 to do an attack. And the dice math here is a little bit crazy. So he is currently poisoned plus an assist, -1 from the nest egg. So really Mike should be rolling 6 dice. They do, however, correct that. So he just removes 1 of his hits. And he's gonna do lots of hits with that. He's going to end up getting a momentous KO and non-momentous 3 damage. Thanks to tough hide, though, it's only going to be 5 damage to Ballista. But 5 damage and knocked out, in addition to being poisoned and engaged. Like, this is just no bueno. He only has 10 boxes left, too. So Mike totally overkilled Esters. Spend another attack to hit. At this point, I think he's adding a dice because his defense is going so low. He has to add an extra dice. But it's going to be another shitstorm. I think it's a momentous 4 and non-momentous 3 damage. So, throwing tough hide, that's going to leave him with very little left. No, a momentous 4, non-momentous 4. I mean, we all know where this is going. There's no way Ballista can live with all these negative modifiers. Mike's gonna attack him one more time, and the whole time he's been overtiming this, or what do you want to call it, boosting. He's just been adding an extra dice, so yeah, Ballista is toast. However, Esters is a very forgiving captain. Even with that 2 extra influence that Mike misallocated, he can now spend it with a range attack. Fire Blast misses velocity but does hit Ratchet, and since she's tooled up, that's 3 damage and the burning condition on Ratchet. So the score is now 6-4, Brewer's favor. And before he passes, he did spend 1 momentum to heal Esther, so she has only lost 1 HP box at this point. And she's sitting at 4-1 Gluttonous Mass. Dave is going to activate his Harry, just move up and start smacking Mike's Harry. Crazy's first, obviously. And again, this is before the errata, so Harry still has Crazy. He hits, does a momentum KO by another attack. It's going to do 2 momentous damage with a double push. And this is a little bit of rules question, so if you know the answer to this, please comment in the video. But he pushes him into the fire, which if you enter the fire, it doesn't have to be in advance. You can take damage or become burned, but it's not Harry's activation, so they concluded that Harry does not turn on fire. If you know a different answer, please comment. Quaff is going to activate next. Quaff has 6 inches of movement, but he only needs to use 4 to grab the ball, drop it next to Friday so Friday can pick it up. And that has been the end of the round. Again, we are looking at 6-4. Brewers lead right now. For the momentum roll-off, they both are sitting at 3 momentum, so it's anyone's game to see who is going to go first. But first, they're going to resolve some conditions. Both Ratchet and Friday are going to take a point of damage from the burning. Everyone else seems to be okay. Roll off, ooh, that's a 1 for the Brewers. So Dave takes the initiative. He's going to bring back on Ballista. Thankfully, he has a ranged captain, so even though Ballista's coming in from the edge of the board, he can probably still get in range to shoot something. Which is why Dave is going to load him up with 4. 3 on Locust, surprisingly, who's been not given a whole lot this whole game. 1 on Velocity, 4 on Harry. And I think Dave forgot his goal influence this turn. And he must have given a couple to Ratchet as well. Mike's doing 2 on Stoker, 2 on Friday, 5 on Esters, 2 on Stoker, and 2 on Harry. Okie dokie. Harry is going to Crazy up and charge Friday. So he's going to actually roll a full 7. But Friday's in a really good defensive spot, within 1 inch of the obstacle, and then within 4 of Spigot, so and defensive stances, so she's a 6-1. That charge had no hits. Alright, Harry's going to try again by an attack. Now she's just a 5-1 because no defensive stance. And he gets 1 hit, which is probably going to be the best use of a push Harry can ever do, because that's going to push her out of the terrain and out of Spigot's buff. So now she's going to be just a simple 4-1. Buys another attack. This is his last influence, I believe. And with her defense now at normal, he's going to get a knockdown. Ball is going to scatter 2 inches to the 4, right next to Quaff, so Quaff's just going to scoop it up. Quaff will go, and decisions. Quaff's not exactly a good goal scorer, so obviously he's going to pass it to somebody. And with Friday being down, I think he's going to have to just rely on Spigot being the closest model. Although he's doing a little bit of planning, trying to see maybe instead of activating Quaff right now, he'll do something aggressive. Whenever he busts out Mash, you know, he's just proxying where in the hell Esters could go. So he could sprint next to Ratchet if he really wanted to. But nope, he's just going to scuttlebutt Quaff over there, drop the ball, and do a bag of quaffers with a lick on Spigot's nose to give Spigot +1 tack. Back to the Engineers. Ratchet, now free from whatever Esters was planning to do, is going to activate. Or, I take that back. We got the big man himself, Ballista. He's going to spend one to sprint, and he is going to deadbolt someone. He's deadbolting the Brewers Harry. Does hit. Can't push him anywhere since Esters is right behind him, but it's 3 damage, and knockdown. However, that did trigger Rising Anger, so now Mike has 2 momentum. Ballista did get 1 momentum for the effort, so I don't know how good of a trade that was, giving the Brewers some momentum. Harry's now going to use that momentum to shake up that knockdown, and he is going to start beating on Ballista. Ballista fully, just fresh from the being taken out, only has 8 HP, and a crazy Harry can do some crazy stuff to Ballista. I think we are looking at a momentous 2 push, it was a momentous knockdown, and I'm just foreshadowing. The next hit was a momentous 2 push, a little bit closer to Esters, so he is setting the table yet again. Dave's going to move up Mother and put a nest token right in front of Ballista. Hopefully that can save. Mike's now bringing out Mash to proxy if Esters can fit between both those nests, and she can. However, the nests are cumulative, so being that close to both of them would be -2 tack, but she would also get +1 tack from a nearby Harry. After seeing how much overkill Mike did the previous turn, I don't imagine he's going to go with Esters right now. It seems like he likes not to gamble, but prefers things to be certain, so instead he's going to do the overkill by tooling up Esters first. He activates Spigot to tool up Esters. And that's really all Spigot does. I think Spigot also spends 2 to stand up Friday. But nope, that's not all he's doing. Spigot is going to pass it to Friday. Needed a 5 because Friday's engaged, but he landed the pass. So Friday is going to take a 4-inch dodge to get, hopefully, outside of Harry. Pretty cool. I like the 5, needing 5s to pass. Fortune favors the bold. Alright, well, the Engineers had 1 moment of reprieve, or 1 more activation, I suppose, to try to save Ballista. They only have 1 momentum, so he can't heal Ballista, but he can do Ratchet to blast the Earth and on Esters to make it so that she has to sprint or use gliding. Doesn't do any damage because of Gluttonous Mass, but that does put a little bit of annoyance to Mike's plan. And then just for lack of tokens, they're going to remove it, but Blast Earth is right in front of Ballista. Alright, so even though the rough terrain isn't there physically, both players know that there's rough terrain there. Esters is going to go. She's going to strength herself up. The big lady is tired of waiting, and she's ready to eat her meal. She is going to have to spend 2 to charge, which she does. And 5 base dice, 4 for the charge, +1 for Harry's assist. However, -2 for 2 nests is 8 dice. And I'd had 2-1 defense with Ballista. She's going to do a momentous 4 and a non-momentous 4 with his tough hide. That is 6 damage, leaving Ballista with just 3 left by an attack, only rolling 4 dice after all the math is done. And that's going to be 3, which just turns into 2 damage, leaving him at 1 HP. Attacks again, so this should be pretty easy. Just needs to get 2 damage. Does get a momentous 2, I believe. Kills Ballista, gives the Brewers another 2 momentum. And Esters with 1 influence is kind of useless, so she's going to sit there and do nothing. Score is now 8-4. Dave's turn. Can Locust charge Harry? Nope. Locust is pretty slow. What to do? Well, Dave does not forget about that ball that's right there, so he's going to try to stop a score. So he's going to sprint 1 and then do Locust's ability, Destructive Impulse. If it hits, it's going to do, which it does hit, it's going to do 2 damage and a 2-inch push any direction Dave wants. Sadly, because Friday was outside of Harry's range, she can't be base to base with Harry, so she's going to be able to get away with her shadow-like movement, but maybe, just maybe, this will be enough. And with 8 points on the scoreboard, Mike is looking to snag that 4. So if it's possible to get Friday within goal range, he is going to do it. The shadow-like movement is going to get her right back out of Harry's melee. Now she's currently on fire though, so she's going to, fire and rough terrain are going to be right there. So she's going to need to figure out if she can get there with the resources. He doesn't want to spend all of his momentum, obviously, because he's going to need 1 for the goal score, and he probably wants to do 1 for the heroic, but he figures he can spend 1 momentum to just do gliding, and did the math, and it did get her within range. Heroic shoots, and that is a score. 12-4, Brewers win.